What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Outriders. In today's quest, we explain a brand new build for the Technomancer class that I am personally calling the BLIGHTED Rocketeer. Before we get started, if you'd like to stay up to date with some of the best Outriders guides, builds, and more, be sure to tap that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for doing so, and let's get started. Alright, so this is officially our third build ever, but first for the Technomancer, which I truly believe will either be a much needed support class, especially with the healing, or an insane go-to boss destroyer with high burst DPS. With this being said, the build focuses highly on the Demolisher class tree, which favors ordnance skills such as Tool of Destruction and Pain Launcher. Besides these, the toxic status effect is also relied on heavily, as we rely on toxic damage and duration buffs. Lastly, our weapons will help apply vulnerability status on enemies to debuff them and allow our gadgets to do even more damage. Ultimately, with our additional rockets, missile launcher, and toxic damage while the enemy is vulnerable, should do some serious damage to mobs or difficult bosses. Alright, so unlike some of the other build videos we have done, I don't want to just go in there and throw out a bunch of numbers at you guys for the majority of the build, so I will first list off the class tree selections and then cover the bonuses we get from them afterwards. For starters, we will be walking along the Demolisher path, starting with Anomaly Field, Ordnance Technician, and another Anomaly Field. Anomaly Field is going to be very important for this build because it increases our anomaly damage, which thus increases the damage output of our rocket launcher and missile launchers, while Ordnance Technician reduces cooldown for them. Next, we have Welcome Shot, Anomaly Field, Adrenalizing Antenna, and then Ordnance Technician. Welcome Shot deals additional damage after our first reload, while Adrenalizing Antenna increases more anomaly damage for not only us but our allies. Following this is Toxicologist, Anomaly Field, Heavy Absorption, Anomaly Field, and then DK Toxin. Toxicologist helps increase toxic duration by a ton, while DK Toxin increases the damage of toxic by a ton as well. Next is Disturbance Coating, Vitality Magnet, Armored Unit, Anomaly Field, and then Emergency Transfusion. Armored Unit will give us a good armor bonus when activating an ordnance skill. Lastly, Anomaly Field, DK Toxin, and Tech Bond are chosen to finalize the class tree. Tech Bond is perfect for the build as it gives us a big 50% anomaly power boost when using our missile or rocket launcher. So once everything is selected, you should have the following passive bonuses. Anomaly power will be increased by 42%, resistance piercing by 15%, and then ordnance skill cooldown by 20%, which helps use our rocket and missile launchers more often. Skill leech increased by 12%, toxic damage is up 15%, while toxic duration is up a huge 50%. Weapon damage at long range is up 20%, and weapon leech is up by 30% for more healing. For activation buffs when activating a decay skill, which will be our blighted turret, our anomaly power for both us and allies will increase by 30% for 10 seconds. Now, anytime we activate an ordnance skill, we will receive the following: 50% more anomaly power for our rocket and missile launchers, 50% more armor for 15 seconds, and then 15% more skill leech for 7 seconds. If our health drops below 30%, our skill leech doubles, and lastly, our first shot after reloading deals bonus damage equal to 15% of our anomaly power. Now, moving on to skills, we will be using the Pain Launcher, Tool of Destruction, and then Blighted Turret. For most mobs and especially bosses, our rotation is going to be pretty simple. Throw out the Blighted Turret, followed by Pain Launcher for 80% for roughly 10 seconds, in which we'll use our rocket launcher from the Tool of Destruction skill to deal some massive damage. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead here, but with our armor, we should have an additional 4 rockets to use while our buff is up, which should be some crazy damage that we're outputting there. Moving on to the armor, we will use the Grim Inventor set, whose special ability refills ammunition by 20% for our rocket launcher when we hit the enemy. For mods, let's focus on the Pain Launcher bonuses first. Overall, our rockets cover 45% more area, and the duration cooldown is reduced by 34%. We also have an additional 10 missiles at our disposal, while damage for each missile is increased by a certain amount based on the item level of that armor piece. For tool of destruction, our rocket launcher's explosion radius increases by 25%, and then we can fire an additional 4 rockets. Then last but not least, our weapon choices. For our primary, the Voodoo Matchmaker seems like a perfect match because of the vulnerability bullets mod, which inflicts the vulnerable status effect on enemies for 8 seconds. Now this effect is a huge 25% increase in damage dealt to them, which would be ideal to apply before your skill rotations. Also, the Voodoo Matcher is an assault rifle and therefore easier to use instead of, maybe doing like a double sniper setup. Our secondary is the Blight Bearer, which is a sniper that decreases the target's resistance by 35% and also allows critical shots to explode and inflict the toxic status effect. Now, since we have a damage and duration buff for the toxic status effect, the additional damage over time will really help us with bosses. Not to mention, this weapon is a sniper, so headshots for critical shots to activate the mod shouldn't be that hard. Then if you're worried about your pistol, I would probably recommend using the Lucky Revolver, as it does have a mod that allows you to inflict enemies with the toxic status effect. So there you guys have it, probably one of the most anticipated builds I've seen so far for Outriders, and of course the Technomancer class. In the comments below, let me know what you think about the build. What would you change, or maybe an entirely different build you're going for in a short summary. Now for more builds, guides, and tips coming soon, remember to tap that subscribe button. And if you're looking for an Outriders Discord server besides the main one, feel free to stop by ours, which is in the description below. My name is Silverback, our quest is complete, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.